From the Adult Swim headquarters at William Street in fashionable Midtown Atlanta, I'm Matt Harrigan with the Adult Swim podcast. Today, Adult Swim Vice President of Programming, Kim Manning, is here talking with me about what life is like programming this network. Here we go.
It's Kim short for?
Yeah.
Kimberly Elaine.
Kimberly Lane?
Kimberly Elaine. That's
Yeah.
what my mom calls me when she's mad.
Kimberly Elaine.
Yeah.
Put out those cigarettes. I smell them. Do you smoke?
Yeah,
You do smoke.
I do. But yeah. I'm kind of a secret smoker.
Do you smoke at work?
Not usually. I have.
Do you ever smoke inside the building here?
Inside the building?
Yeah.
Not in many, many years.
But yes.
But yes, there was a time.
Seems like a real anachronism.
I thought that's why that we moved over here. Because
Lazo
wanted to smoke in the building. And so we would all stand by that window and smoke.
Could you light up right now and just walk around smoking?
That would be
so cool.
That was like 2004 or something. 2002. I don't know. It was not 1975.
That would be the ultimate cool thing to do now. To smoke inside the office.
And
to
just
walk around
not
and say, fuck you.
Yeah,
you got
exactly.
a problem with it?
Yeah.
That's punk.
I would have lied about smoking not so long ago, but now that's exactly what I do is I just flip people off if they... Because nobody likes a smoker, but I don't care.
I have to say that I think that I tend to gravitate towards people who've at least smoked for a while. Something about their self-destruction makes them appealing.
I think that I like smoke. I think I started smoking because you can go to the corner if you're at a social event.
It's a reason to hide.
Yes. And I have a little bit of social anxiety. And so being able to stand in the corner with other people who might not be the biggest fans of being in the center of the party. So that's where all the good people were.
In the fringes.
In the fringes.
So it's not self-destruction. It's actually you smoke to preserve yourself.
Well, no. I also started smoking because John Constantine smoked in the comics that I was reading. I read comic books, and it was always cool to smoke in comic books. And so, in the ones that I read, I guess Superman doesn't do that, but I wasn't a fan of Superman.
So you're an example of somebody who was influenced to smoke by seeing it in children's media. Wow. There's an irony in there somewhere.
Maybe.
You're vice president of programming.
I am, yeah.
What does that mean? Give us an explanation of what that means.
It means, I think a lot of it is strategy, but and what time things are coming on and what platforms they go out on. But it's also thinking about the flow of the block, trying to make sure that I don't know. It's what you see when you turn on the television. But Cahill described my job as making the ultimate mixtape.
Wow.
And I think that's very accurate.
What do you watch on TV?
Right now, I'm really into What We Do in the Shadows. And I Think You Should Leave by Tim Robinson on Netflix.
Yeah.
And
those feel like Adult Swim shows.
They do. Yeah, they do. They feel very, very much like they fit right in. And in a way that I haven't seen things pop up that I feel like would fit right in the past.
How do shows come to your eyes? Like, how does a show come to your eyes and you participate in the decision of should it be on TV?
I mean, I go to some conventions where you meet with different people who have things to show you. I think a lot of what I pick up is anime, and I just have those connections because I've been doing it for so long. So they'll regularly send us things. There's also not really another, at least another television network that does anime right now. So, or at least anime for adults.
There's no other adult anime on television?
Not really.
Why does no one do that?
I think it's a niche thing still. I think action shows are harder to show than comedy, at least for us. Because when we do an action show, once people have seen it, it doesn't replay the way people will watch comedy over and over and over again. They don't do that with action shows.
So you'll go to an anime convention and you'll be chased down by people with animes they want to put on TV?
Yeah, and then you get to watch them and try to decide which ones fit in. And I don't make those decisions all by myself. Jason and Gil definitely have a voice in that too. But yeah, that's what we do. We try to keep track of what's coming out and figure out which ones fit in.
What animes do you like?
I feel put on the spot.
Yeah. Classic animes?
I do. I like.
You're on the spot.
Yeah.
You were good in Perfect Hair Forever. That was an anime.
Yeah. I don't know if it counts.
Yeah.
But I was.
Did they show that
really
in Japan?
Fun. They should.
Yeah.
I can't get them.
You should go to one of those conventions and say and turn the tables on them and say, "Listen,
I got something for you.
I'm the star of it."
I know you don't realize you're talking to a celebrity.
Walk me through your day. Like, what's your day today after you leave here? We're at William Street.
Yeah, we're at
Here in
William Street.
Midtown Atlanta, Adult Swim headquarters. You walk out of this room, and what happens to you today?
So I will. I'll go back to my office. I have a lot of. I have to. We've been rearranging the June schedule, and so I've got to get that settled and sent out.
What precipitates a schedule rearrangement?
I mean, we watch the ratings as they come in daily. I try not to be too reactionary to
Yeah.
ratings, but that definitely has an impact. And then
So if you see something that there's a hole in the schedule, something falls through a hole, the ratings
Mhm.
are so bad, no one's watching it.
Yeah.
You can change it immediately,
Mhm.
but you try not to because you don't want to be knee jerk.
Yeah, and I think that that's not very cool to the audience to, like, for the people that are watching it to jerk it off mid-run. So, and sometimes it takes time for people to find things and time for things to build. So you have to sort of sit with that uncomfortable feeling of whether
Yeah.
you have to trust your gut a
Yeah.
little bit,
Have
right?
you had successes in those in certain shows where you gave them time and people came around to them?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely.
I guess Family Guy
Yeah.
was a good example.
Yeah, Family Guy is a great example. That the way that built was huge, and when we picked it up, it wasn't. It was a forgotten show. You know, we
Yeah.
were begged to take it. So, and I think we believed in it. But yeah, you have to put it up. It was a risk because it was a little. I think we had to persuade people that it was okay to put on a kids' network.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just know that something fits or something doesn't. And I'm not going to like every show we put on the air, but they all have a certain sensibility that you can sort of, I don't know, pull from them that makes it feel like they fit here.
Okay, so you will go reshuffle the schedule.
Mm-hmm.
And what does that mean? Is that an hour? Is that all day?
It's an ongoing debate that's been going on for days
Uh-huh.
where we'll move some things and sort of make sure that we're not, because as we move things, it can cause issues for sales or for, there's, so we've been sort of going through a process of trying to make sure that we're doing it right. Because when we do it, we don't like to flip things around too much. I don't know. Yeah, I'll probably spend an hour working on that. And then I will I try to watch scripts, read scripts, not and watch animatics and stuff as they come in, so I can keep up with what's in development. And And so I'll probably spend some time doing that while I eat my lunch. And then um, will have a million emails with a million questions about can we do this or can we do that? Or when is this going to premiere? Or so I'll spend a long time answering questions in email.
People just ask you questions all day.
That does, yeah.
What do you think the big significant programming moves were for this company? Family Guy, maybe. And then what do you think are some landmarks?
I mean, Rick and Morty is
the most
huge.
recent.
Yeah, the most recent, I think, where I mean, we have lots of shows that have performed really well and are great shows and always pull an audience and have tons of fans. Robot Chicken and Aqua Teen and Squidbillies are shows that I can put them anywhere and people will watch them. But Rick and Morty is on a whole nother level where there's awareness of that show. I mean, that's a hit. It's a huge hit.
How do you know how did you know when it was a hit? How did you personally realize?
I think just when did it cross over for me? I don't know. I guess you start to see it all over the place. People quoting it on social media, and I mean, I think as that built, but I can't remember a moment where, I mean, honestly, just watching the ratings as the season 2 episodes aired, and watching those builds, I could tell it was going to be a great show. I can't remember the moment where I was like, "Whoa, this is this is a hit."
Yeah.
But I mean, I do think like when we talk to the research will go out and talk to people, and they'll talk about Rick and Morty and won't even realize it's an Adult Swim show.
What do they say? They don't realize it's Adult Swim?
They have an awareness of Rick and Morty as its own thing, right? That's a hit that's run that, you know, like that's a big deal. The shows that we make and what we do here, has felt like a secret that people find, right? The sort of thing that you can get in on. And so to have a show like Rick and Morty that's not a secret, I think there's something special that I feel like is harder to touch right now in that I miss from, because I'm in my 40s now, I'm old, but like that was finding things and feeling like they belonged to you.
Yeah. And then you see other people having them, other like Hulu or whoever else.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not your special thing anymore.
Right. And so losing that sense of secret discovery, it's important that we have huge hits. And I think there's tons of stuff that we make that you can still discover. I mean, we still make shows that are only to air at 4 a.m. because we just love the idea that if you turn on the television at 4 a.m., you stumble into something super bizarre.
Yeah.
Which I think was your idea, Matt. But yeah, I think that's we have tons of things for people to discover. The website, I mean, the way that you can dive into adultswim.com, you know, but I think it's always a surprise. I mean, we love everything we make, right? Almost.
No. No.
We pretend we do. No, we make some serious mistakes.
Yeah.
But we also make some really great stuff that makes me really happy. To everybody, you know.
Something for everyone.
Something for everyone.
Yeah. It's like a variety store. What show creators do you admire that have come through here? Because you've seen all of them.
Yeah. I mean, there are people that are really fun to work with, right? Like the first person that pops into my mind is Christy Caracas, because he's just got this insane energy and he's such a great animator. And it's amazing to talk to him. Like just I mean, I think watching Tim Heidecker and Eric Wareheim come in originally and they're like path since then, and I adore them and admire them a lot.
Do you look at? I mean, you've been here most of your professional career.
Yes.
Are there other companies that you think you would admire or covet jobs at other places?
I mean, there are other networks that I love. I don't know. This place is special because we're in this
'Cause it's so dirty.
humongous corporation, and it doesn't feel like a corporation when I come into work. You know, I mean, not that there's not tons of stuff that I have to do that is, I've got tons of paperwork, and but it feels like it feels, I don't know, homier.
Does it feel the same as it felt at the beginning?
No, not at all. But in many, many ways, it does not, because when I first got here, it felt very punk, I guess. It was just because there was no pressure, and we could do whatever we wanted to do, sort of. There was more room to play, and now there's a lot of pressure on us because we make a lot of money, and so for the company, and so trying to maintain that
for the company
is hard. Not personally. But yeah. So it's changed a lot in that there's more stress and less room to play in some ways. And I mean, I don't have to. I just like talking to the people around here.
Yeah, you like the people you work with.
Yeah, and I don't have to wear a suit to work. I mean, I don't know. I guess nobody does anymore, but
some people push it a little bit, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've seen some tank tops on men.
I guess so.
Yeah.
I guess so. But
casual Fridays.
Yeah. But I mean, I feel like I could come in my pajamas and it wouldn't be that big of a deal. And I have. I think I have done that before.
So you're have you ever gotten in big trouble here? Have you ever done anything that got you in trouble?
Yes.
Can you tell us what it is?
I don't know.
We can edit it. Or what's a dumb mistake that you made, maybe?
I'm just going to say something very innocent. Like when I first started, I didn't know anything, because my job before this job, I had worked at a comic book store while I was in college, and I was a manager there, and I had started an anime DVD rental service, and it was what was sort of keeping the shop going at the time, and I loved that job because it was just talking to weird people all day and reading all the comics I wanted to read. And not
like now.
there were and I wrote a newsletter, like, here's the anime that came out that you should pay attention to and whatever. I had never worked in a corporate environment before, and I was the assistant to Mike Lazo, but I was also assistant to a woman who was a high-powered executive, more than, like, Lazo was kind of silly compared, like, he didn't need me to schedule his meetings or get things set up perfectly in a conference room or stuff like that. And so she told me to order her a new BlackBerry, and I was super confused about what that was because I'd never heard of one before. And I think I asked some real dumb questions trying to figure out what she might want without and then, but
like showing your cards.
Yeah.
What did you ask? Do you remember?
I think, yeah, no, I thought she meant fruit. But I couldn't. Anyway, I don't remember. I just remember feeling real dumb. and then I remember was trying, like I was supposed to make coffee and I didn't understand how the coffee machine worked, and it was wired to the water, and I poured water through the vents in the top, which you're not supposed to do. I'm sure I broke it.
Shorted it out.
But yeah, I had a problem apparently with asking questions. I was like, I can do this. I wouldn't say, excuse me, can somebody show me how to do this? But yeah. Anyway, so I made some dumb mistakes then.
Nobody cared.
Yeah. I don't know. What else? I mean, I've made plenty of dumb mistakes.
Sometimes a couple times people have talked about this network as a peculiarity of the South. Where are you from?
I'm from the South, yeah.
Whereabouts?
I'm from Atlanta. So
it's Atlanta's kind of a mashup, right?
Yeah, it is. And I mean, my family is from, like, I'm from Atlanta, but my family is pretty Southern. And I grew up with a garden in the backyard and a lot, like, my grandfather owned a service station / furniture store that that was full of just totally bizarre stuff hanging up everywhere. There was like because he would go to the train, the unclaimed freight, I think is what it was called, where things had not been claimed from a train, and just buy stuff and bring it into the store.
Wow, so like Storage Wars, but with trains.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
You would do that?
Yeah. And so there was like, cool. There was a witch that would hang on the wall, and you'd pull the string and it would laugh at you for about 5 minutes, and then it'd spit this long stream of water at your face.
Wow. You got that from a train car?
Yeah. There was a jackalope that was pretty amazing. I don't know. You know what else he would do is he would, he always had those things that you turn them right side up and they moo. You know?
Yeah, those little cow cans.
Cow cans.
Yeah.
And he also would he'd make he had stashed Cokes in the wall and then plastered over them lightly so
like
that he could say
Cokes?
No, so he could say, "Do you want a Coke?" and then punch a hole in the wall and get a Coke out, just so that it would,
wow,
because it was such a bizarre thing to do. And he was not, like, he was so fascinating to me. I don't think he was just sort of off in his own world at all times. And he also had a big garden and farm that he kept.
I'm afraid to ask, where is he now?
He passed away in, I think, 1992.
Oh.
But yeah. And then but all, like, we always had fresh vegetables. Everybody was a gardener. And then there's all the dark, weird Southern stuff too. You know, like the Southern Gothic. I have a little bit of Southern Gothic history too.
You do?
But yeah, but I think that
what's like an example of your Southern Gothic history?
Well, my mom had 6 siblings, but only 4 of them lived to adulthood, and one of them had a really high fever when she was young, and so she was sort of permanently impaired mentally, and so and she would babysit for us a lot, and she was really, she's the most fun, but also it was interesting. And she witnessed her she was the oldest, and so she witnessed her siblings' deaths when they were young. One of them fell into a wash tub and drowned.
A wash tub?
Yeah. And one of them, there was a delivery truck in the driveway, and they would put a brick underneath it to keep it from rolling, and the boy was 5 or 6, and he pulled the brick out from under the delivery truck.
Oh my gosh. This is Southern Gothic.
And so So yeah, I mean, I was very aware of those stories. I would hear them a lot when I
Oh
was
my
growing up.
gosh, those are
So,
horrifying.
and I think, but I think despite having all that darkness, I think sometimes when things are super dark, things are extra beautiful too. You know, like the contrast. And so, um, I remember my mom wanted me to move into my grandmother's house after she passed away because they needed somebody to take care of it. And we went over there, and it was it was a mess. And I was like, I can't move in here. And we walked through, and there were lots of indicators of that times had been rough, right? And I'm not going to go into what they all were. But we're walking
Just a
through this
couple
house, and
headlines.
my mom can't see those things, like. And
What do you mean she can't see them?
well, she doesn't look at the things
She
that
doesn't see
are.
the details.
She doesn't see the things that are bad. She would be like, we'd
Give us
walk
an
in-
example. Just give us one thing that was bad.
Um, I mean, when we first walked in, there was there was a dog that had died.
Sorry.
Okay, there was a dog that had died, and it had a rope tied around its neck, and it was the saddest thing I've ever seen. And it had been there so long you couldn't smell the death smell anymore, right? And I said, "Oh my God, what happened? Did this dog belong to someone?" And my mom said, "Look at the rose bush behind the dog." And she told me this story about how when she was really young, it was her parents' anniversary, and she had ordered a dozen roses for them, and they had sent 13 roses. And um, and she got a whipping for having done that because they had to pay for them, and they were really upset. And so she went outside with they threw the roses away, and she went outside and stuck them in a straight row up against the front of the house. And one of them, I guess the 13th one, took root and grew into this gorgeous rose bush. And so she does not look at the dog. She tells me the story about the rose bush. And so I was like, we should rescue that. We should try to dig it up. And so we went over to try to see if we could take it with us somehow. And the roots had grown into the house. And because it was right outside the kitchen window. And so there was no way to detach it without it was rooted to that house. Anyway, so that's an example.
Wow. So that 13th rose, which sounds in itself like a Tesla song or something.
I know.
Did you move in?
Like there's beauty in the darkness.
Yeah.
That's all I'm trying to say. But yeah, no, I heard, so it's like moving on. I heard I heard Cahill, I heard the last one of these, I heard one of these things, podcasts that Cahill described it, or maybe it was Dave Hughes described this place as outsider art, feeling like outsider art.
Yes.
And I'm definitely drawn to outsider art. The idea of making your own path and not following convention, right?
Yes.
Just you make something beautiful the way that you want to make it beautiful. And I think that was a really brilliant way to describe this place because when we're at our best and certainly how we started, that's what it feels like to me.
And well, you have been shepherding it for 17 years.
Mm-hmm.
So you are responsible for that. Who are your Kate Bush? I'll say it's probably one, right? Who are your heroes in real life? Who do you follow on Twitter that you like?
I like Jimmy Carter a lot. No, I admire his humility and his how much public service he does.
Have you ever seen him?
Yeah, I went to watch his Sunday school class one time, which was really cool.
How do you get to do that?
You just show up. You have to get there a little early, but it's in Plains, Georgia.
Do you sit on the floor?
No, there's seating, and so you have to, so you get there, I don't know, I don't remember how early. I think we had to get there at 7 a.m. or something, and then you stand in line, but the people in line are excited to meet him too, and so it's usually it's a pretty interesting time in line.
You get to meet him?
And then, yeah, you get to hear him speak, and he's right there. He's very close. And then, because it's a church, I mean, it's an old church. It's not big. And then afterwards, he stays, and everybody can take a picture with him and Rosalind, and he'll stay
Did
and
you
take
do
a
that?
picture with everybody. Yeah, I did.
Oh, neat.
Yeah.
Was he nice? Were they nice?
Yeah, he's totally nice.
Did he give do you remember what he talked about? Did you tune out?
Yeah, I didn't pay attention. I don't really care what he has to say. No, I don't remember. But if I sit and think about it for a while, maybe I will. I should have just made something up.
The importance of service in American life.
Exactly. I think he was talking about how divided we are in this current political climate, and the importance of meeting in the middle, and listening to each other. I think that was a piece of it.
I don't know anything about Kate Bush. Explain to me who Kate Bush is, and why you're so enthusiastic about Kate Bush.
So Kate Bush is a British pop singer from like the 70s and 80s, I guess, is when she was really popular. She sang that song "Running Up That Hill" that made it to be popular here, but I think she's more popular in Europe and Australia than she is here. She is just really unafraid of being completely bizarre. All of her videos are, her voice is an acquired taste, I think, to lots of people. But I think it's pretty awesome how she is just puts herself out there, and all of her stuff is bizarre artistic in a way that sort of makes me laugh and sort of just puts me in a state of awe. And so I don't know. And she writes good lyrics, and so I was a fan. And
so you went to the park.
And so, well, what happened is I saw I was copying. I saw an old viral video of some people that got together and recreated one of her videos, and it was so silly, and it looked like so much fun. And so I thought, I started just sort of saying to people, we should do that here. And more people than I expected. It was sort of a joke when I started to say it, but more people than I thought were going to be excited about it were excited about it. And so, yeah, we got about, I think there were 70 of us that danced, but there were over 100 people in the park, dressed up in flowy red dresses and doing this really melodramatic dance about being a ghost and missing your lover. It's Wuthering Heights. It's based on the story from Wuthering Heights. And
you can watch this on YouTube.
Yeah, it's on YouTube, and Dave Bonowitz filmed it for us. It just sort of was like a very silly thing to do and very joyous thing to do, and it was very, very fun.
So people thought it was a joke, and you were serious, and that's maybe why you're a VP of programming, right? For Adult Swim, because you hear things all day long that sounds like jokes, but people are serious about it.
That's true. Yeah. Like you joke around and then you try to figure out which things are actually worth pulling into the world.
All right, Kim Manning, thanks for being on the Adult Swim podcast.
Yeah, it's totally fun. Thanks.
Music from this episode is a song called Mr. Major, as performed by Acid Dad on Fish Center Live. You can watch their performance of this on Adult Swim's YouTube page. Be sure to visit adultswim.com/podcast for links to some of the things Kim and I were just talking about. And as always, we'd love to hear from you. adultswimpodcast@gmail.com. Thanks to Dave Bonowitz for editing this podcast and to Christina Loringer for her help. And thank you for listening.